Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for joining us for our daily English news edition. I'm Daniel Cook, your host, Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. The State Police Director Haki Chako was invited to be a guest yesterday evening on Tonight Il Vettore. He spoke about the multiple murder that took place in Elbasan a few days ago, saying that the police are still working to identify the killers. He also denied a circulating rumor that the killers were wearing police uniforms. He said, "It is not true that the authors were dressed in police uniforms. This is an urban legend that is being applied to this case. The same thing has been said about several cases in the past, but after investigating the camera footage, it was found to be false. It is thought that 4 people were involved in this crime, 3 directly and 1 as a getaway driver," said Mr. Chako. The state police director blamed the justice system for setting people free who have been arrested by the police and convicted by the prosecution. He went on, "A considerable number of people with criminal records and also members of criminal groups have been arrested and declared guilty, but the judicial system has set them free. After being set free, they turn back to their criminal activities and become the subject of police work again." He also spoke about the National Bureau of Investigation, expressing the opinion that it should be placed under the supervision of the state police, as they are the body that has the means to investigate. The Bureau of Investigation has been one of the recent priorities of the Albanian government, he said. "We have been working with the foreign experts, and especially with the American experts, to format a structure that would operate in the investigation and proceeding of corrupt cases in the high levels. In my judgment, this structure should be under the supervision of the state police, because it is a structure that will conduct investigations and other actions that are accessible to the police. Under the supervision of the prosecution or under any other institution, it would duplicate certain functions of the state police that would create dualities and would turn the prosecution into a police department," said Police Director Haki Chako. The U.S. and EU ambassadors held a meeting today with the Democratic Party chairman Luzim Basha and the former Prime Minister Salih Berisha. The meeting was held at the Democratic Party headquarters and lasted for more than an hour. It has been reported that the focus of the meeting was on the justice reform, and especially the establishment of a National Bureau of Investigation. In a recent reaction, the U.S. Embassy has declared that the United States has offered technical assistance on the Bureau and encouraged the parties to be proactive in turning the Bureau into a reality. Recently, the ambassadors have been holding meetings with the institution reps and political parties regarding the important reforms, like the justice reform, the decriminalization process, and the establishment of the National Bureau of Investigation. Yesterday, the rapporteurs for Albania in the European Parliament, Kukan and Fleckenstein, also began a series of meetings with the political leaders focused on the judicial reform. The much-debated property law will be entering into power in 15 days. Now the Agency for the Return and Compensation of Properties will begin to distribute funds to the former property owners. Despite the fact that the President and the Association of Former Property Owners has appealed the law to the Constitutional Court, the implementation of the law will continue until a final ruling has been made. The Agency for the Return and Compensation of Properties will be operating based on the procedures of the past until the new bylaws completing the law are prepared. Meanwhile, the new application form for the owners will be adopted within 30 days. Also, the property agency will be reviewing all the decisions that were made under the Article 7501. Around 26,000 files have been registered at the agency, and the government has allocated a fund of 3 billion lek for 2016. With this law, the government aims to resolve the issue of compensating former property owners within the period of 10 years. The Democratic MP Yorida Tabaku said today that the concessions and partnerships that have been issued by Rama's government in the past 900 days have caused damage of 660 million euro to the state budget. According to Tabaku, the Democratic Party is not against issuing concessions, but they feel that the government is giving concessions even for services that the state budget can't afford. She said, the concessions we are recently hearing about are risky for the state budget. Let me use the health sector as an example. We will pay €338 million from the state budget for the concession instead of investing the money in the health sector. Regarding the VAT concession, the party will wait until it is implemented before taking legal steps to denounce it, she said. She went on to say that when the Democratic Party comes into power, it will establish a committee to verify all the concessions, and any that are found to be corrupt will be annulled. There has been a developing debate between the opposition and the government over the offering of free medical checkups, a government initiative that began recently. The Democrats have opposed the project, saying that the checkups will not provide accurate medical information and will simply waste money. Prime Minister Rama paid a visit today to Health Sector Number 7 in Durrës, accompanied by the Minister of Health, Ilir Becai. Mr. Rama made the statement that progress is being made toward universal health coverage. He said, "With the progress we have made, the checkup is not the only service offered for free. The family doctor is also free. If we compare the hospital fees for those who have insurance and those who do not, the difference is very small. This means that we are moving toward our objective." The analysis of the hospitals was absolutely up to the European standards, said Prime Minister Rama. On his part, the Minister of Health clarified the advantages of getting a checkup. The checkup has two main advantages, he said: an overall assessment of the situation and a concrete assessment that gives the doctors the ability to do their jobs better. We are implementing electronic prescriptions in Durrës. Starting next week, the citizens will get the results of their checkups at their own computers, said Minister Becai. Health Sector Number 7 in Durrës serves around 20,000 citizens, and around 1,000 of them have already received a free checkup. The President has appointed the new Albanian ambassador to Turkey, the former director of the Money Laundering Department, Genti Gazeli. He resigned from his position today after the appointment was made. He did not receive the support of the opposition members when he was presented to the Foreign Commission today. The President also appointed Anila Bitra as the new ambassador to Italy, replacing Naritan Tseka. Lastly, he appointed Mr. Saimir Bala as the new ambassador of Albania to the state of Kuwait. On the International Day of Safer Internet, 4 ministries have signed an agreement to enhance and promote children's safety online. The agreement was signed by the Ministry of Innovation, the Interior Ministry, the Ministry of Education, and the Ministry of Social Welfare and Youth. The Minister of Innovation, Milena Harito, had this to say: "Safer internet is a necessity for children today. Those who navigate the internet safely navigate intelligently." The ministers Tahiri, Nicola, and Klosi underlined that very little has been done in these past years to protect children from online dangers. Minister Tahiri said, "Examples of violence are broadcast everywhere, even in the Parliament. Parliament also presents constant violence to children every Thursday. It is the worst theater of violence for children." The Minister of Education, Lindita Nicola, also commented, "Any individual, and especially the kids, can be exposed to online intimidation, threats, and abuse. It is important that we begin to think about how we can respond efficiently and effectively to this problem." Lastly, the Minister of Social Welfare and Youth, Blendi Klosi, made the following statement: "We talk so much about protecting children, but we have a disoriented system. We need to do simple things, simple mechanics, so that when any citizen sees a defenseless child, they know how to react." During the meeting, the 4 ministers committed to establishing a national mechanism for child safety on the internet. They presented a platform for the identification and protection of children who are victims of abuse and sexual violence on the internet, and to identify and block illegal and inappropriate content. Thanks for joining us once again for the English edition. Have a great night, and see you at the same time tomorrow.